G'day, I'm Bruce, and today I'm going to try and get this Ford 9000 running. It's been sitting in this cow paddock for a long time. It was sitting over there in the bush, but it has been dragged out of here for a farm clean-up. You can see there's still a bit of bush sitting there. And the story goes apparently the front diff packed it in, blew up, whatever you want to call it, and then it was just parked there for years, and then the people that own it needed the transmission to put in another truck, so the transmission was pulled out of it. But apparently the engine in it's supposed to be quite good. It's a 350 big cam Cummins. Where it was sitting, it had stuff growing up all over it. If you look down there, you can see where the transmission has been removed. And if you look over to the side, you can see where the tail shaft was just tied up above the muffler. Like many old trucks in our area, rust takes over, rust beats them in the end. And looks like it's got a bit of a sunroof up the top there. I don't think we'll be using this fuel tank. When you look at that, the cap looks like it's been off there for years, and it looks like they've rubbed the fitting off the top of the tank there. I would say that's probably the feed line for the engine. Still turns, but we'll probably have to try and rig up something a bit better than that. I wonder whether it's got water or dirt in it. No, nothing came out, but it's a wonder it didn't. They've rubbed the terminals off the end of the lead, so we'll have to put some new terminals on there. The battery box, well, looks like the batteries could fall straight through there. I need a bit of wood to chuck in there. See if I can tilt the bonnet forward. There were a couple of wasps flying around there, so there's bound to be a wasp nest here somewhere. The whole machine's covered in cobwebs. It looks like nobody's been anywhere near it for a long time. This valve's just hanging down, but I don't think that'll stop it from starting. It looks like it's still got a starter motor there, which is a good thing for us. You can see this side's no different. There's an abundance of rust and cobwebs. Turbo's open on the end there too. I wonder, does it still turn? Oh yeah, it turns around. Yeah, I can't make the impeller touch the housing. This is a bit of a test to see how good the turbos really are. You just grab them in the middle and turn them and see if you can push them sideways and see if you can make them touch the housing. Make the impeller touch the housing, but no, the impeller's not touching the housing. So that part's probably okay. Spins quite freely. Still got the pipes hooked up to the turbo. Suppose I should have a look and see if there's any water in it. That was just on top of the radiator cap, hornet's nest. That's another problem in our area. Anything that's got a hole in any pipes or anywhere, hornet comes along and builds in it. That's probably where the babies were, and they've probably left town. There we are. I can see there's a bit of water there, but it's a long way down. What have we got here? That's probably a tap for the heater, I would imagine. The alternator has been pulled off down there. I can see the belts are still sitting there, but the alternator's long gone. Looks like they've tied that off to keep the steering wheel straight while they've towed it out of the bush. Have a good look around first. Here's a shot of the dash. The speedo is showing 490,000 kilometres, but it's probably been around quite a few times, I'd say. The hornets have moved in here, but the hornets don't really worry us, but it's the ones you can't see. The wasps, whether they're hiding up in somewhere or whether they're hiding up underneath the mud guards or somewhere. If it's not wasps, it can be worse. It can be either spiders or snakes. Structurally, I think the cab is fit for the scrap metal yard. Yeah, rust has got a grip on it. Some of these places where it's triple layer steel, rust grown in there pretty badly. I've found where the dipstick's supposed to be, but someone's flogged the dipstick out of it, stolen the dipstick out of it. That's where it should go. I'll see if I can get a bit of wire and just run down in there and see if it still has got any oil in it. I'll get some wire off of here. See if I can use that as a dipstick. It's been in a fire, so it's fairly brittle. Well, it's soft, but it'll snap easy. Probably one part will probably be enough. I hope it's long enough. I don't think it'll be long enough, but we'll give it a go. See what I mean about brittle? Piece just snapped off then. I think the hornets have found it. I'm going to clean around here and see if I can undo the dipstick tube off the block. Get it that way. I'm up against this here. Wherever I try and swing that shifter, that brace is in the way, so I'll have to try and... all that oil and grease there, you'd think it'd come off easy. That is running downhill. Looks like it might have been just on the end. Looks like it's clear further down, so if I can just get that to come out a bit. There's the dirt coming out. Looks like the dirt's just come out now. Bit of a bend on the end there might help. No, it doesn't want to go down. I can't get the wire to go down, I think it's just too soft. So I'm going to have a look around and see if I can pull a dipstick out of something else to try it. No dipstick there. Here it is. Righto, we'll go and give that a try. Righto, I've got that to go in. Don't know whether it's long enough. Dipstick's too short, doesn't show anything, so I really need something longer than that. It's a farm clean-up, but the cameraman went over and pulled this out of the scrap heap. Well, it's touching something. Well, it's definitely got oil in it. There's definitely oil there, so there's oil from about here down. So we know it's got some oil in it anyway. Right, well, that passed that test. I'm just going to put the other dipstick back where it came from. Should have my mud boots on. I'm getting a bit of an audience over there. The Brahmins are looking over. Still pretty wet here. When you look at the ground. Just going to stick this piece of rag back in the dipstick tube, because if I don't, and if it does start up, there'll be oil going everywhere. Make a big mess. Right, that should stay in there. Right, the job done. I've just put that bolt and nut back on where it came from. That way if the next person does want to use the motor, well, the bolt's already sitting there. Right, yeah, I'll put some water in now. I can see water in there, but might have still been a fair way down, I'm not sure. Oh, there we are. Had more water in it than what I thought it had. Yep, doesn't look rusty either. I've just traced that back from the solenoid on the starter, so I can't get it wrong. They could probably do with a bit of sandpaper really to get them back to the copper. I'm hoping to see a bit of copper. Should really have a washer on here. I don't know whether it's going to work even. It's going to be close. Right, that should be good. Right, loosen them off a little bit. Just got to clean around this bung and put some diesel in the pump. Pretty hard to get around the back of it there. I'll try and brush the dirt off. I'd like to get a piece of rag. I know what I'll do, I'll get a piece of hose and just blow it off. This is sort of a bush mechanic's idea where you just have a bit of clear hose just to blow the dirt away after it's all loosened up. I guess now we'll try and mix up some diesel and try and pour in there, maybe with a little bit of oil and with the diesel just to lubricate the pump a bit, because it's been standing for a long time. So we won't try and turn the motor over until we've got something in that pump to lubricate it. There we are. Get a bit more leverage on it if I can get that on there. Right. I'll just get the hose again and give that another blow round. It's always best to give them a second clean. There we are, the bung is out. I'm just going to mix up some engine oil and diesel to put in that pump. I reckon about that much oil. We'll put some diesel on top of that, give it a bit of a stir. See if we can get all the air out of the pipe anyway. Put our little bung back in there. Right, there like that. Now we've got a screwdriver and give that a bit of a stir. A bit of a stir. Right, I'm just going to put this piece of plastic hose into there. Rightio. Right in. Right, we've got that sitting there. No, it's still going to take more. I'm just going to put this small piece of plastic hose in the end here, which will make it a bit easier to do the job, because that should go down inside the hole, whereas the other won't. I put the oil in with the first lot, so this time I'm just going to pump it in with the outboard fuel tank. Yeah, for all those that are wondering whether it's water or diesel dripping down, that's water just dripping out of the heater tap. Righto, I've just got to go and get the bung. I'm just going to try this piece of wire and see if there's any hornet's nest in the end. No, it looks to be clear. Now the other thing is, I wouldn't normally do this with a dirty old pipe, but it still has its own filter hooked up, so any diesel going through here is still going to be filtered by the time it gets to the pump. I'm going to try and shove this hose over top of this other one if I can do it. Yep, it worked. I didn't think it would, but it will. That's a new piece of hose, so it's a good, nice soft piece. This tank's already been dosed with Fuel Doctor, so we've probably got enough in there to easily start it and run it for a bit. So I've just got to try and push the fuel through now, through the filter, up into where I pull that bung out. We've got a solid flow coming out around the thread, which is looking good. Right, the battery will be next. We're going to put the battery on this plate, which is the plate that came from around the gear stick. So if the battery doesn't fall through there, we'll be right. We'll go from jumper leads on the ground to that one. Right, so we've got our positive here. Push that back a bit. We've got a buzzer going off inside. Just going to add these jumper leads on. It's a 12 volt system, so there's our positive and negative. Be careful down here, they don't touch. Positive onto there. Negative onto there. These trucks, if they have a 12 volt system, most times they have a couple of big 12 volt batteries. So these are 900 cold cranking amps each. So we hope we've got enough there to spin it over. Most times they've got a big Delco Remy starter on them and that they need a lot of amps to kick them off. I'm just going to put this 90-degree bend on here because we are worried that dirt and dust might go back, but it has got a Horton fan on it, so the Horton fan probably won't do anything because it hasn't got any air pressure there to make it engage. So we're just going to sit this on here now anyway. It'll probably drop off if it starts up, but at least we've tried. I normally don't stand beside them when I go to start them, but I am this time because there's no transmission in there, so it can't go anywhere anyway. So we've got a buzzer going off, which is probably a low air buzzer, I suspect. So here goes nothing. It has a start button on top, I think. No, it's as if it's not getting enough power for the starter. I'll turn the key on, and I'm pushing this start button. She's a runner. It did start, she was running, but I think the throttle might be seized. Nothing happening there. I think there must have been some air somewhere around, possibly in the filter. So I'll just see if I can loosen that bung off. There's bubbles coming out around the bung. Rightio, now we'll go back and try again. We've quickly shut it down because we've got an oil leak in here where there must be a bung or a pipe missing. Well, looks like the engine's pretty good. The 350 big cam Cummins, ticking away there nicely. The throttle was seized, so just as well we didn't rev it up anyway because we didn't realise it had an oil leak. It looks like it must have a bung missing out the side of the block or a hose that's been pulled off it. So it was right out of sight until we could see the oil starting to come down the side there, and we shut it down immediately. Now the farmers can make their mind up whether they're going to keep it or what's going to happen to it. They're going to bring a D6 dozer over and push it up onto that float. Over in America it'd be a low boy. The engine is probably the best part of this truck. So even if they kept the engine, or if somebody out there might need a 350 big cam Cummins, they might be able to get in contact with me, and I might be able to give them the farmer's number if they're interested in buying this engine. The sun has just set over the hill now, so it was pretty good that we got it going before it ended up being dark. This has been a pretty fun little adventure. For a start, when I pushed the start button, had the key on and pushed the start button, nothing happened. There was only the buzzer going off below air, I suspect. I thought, oh well, we're going to have to hotwire the starter motor. And then I don't know what happened, some miracle. I just kept pushing the button. The next thing it started cranking. So I was pretty lucky to have that happen. If you've had anything to do with these 350 Cummins big cam engines, feel free to leave a comment. I'll have to quickly pack up here now and get out of here before it's dark. That'll be it for this video. So until next time, thanks very much for watching.